Let me get,
Oh, we lost lost Nancy right when you started recording.
great.
Oh, I was gonna say she ducked down.
She ran to get a box of Kleenex because something out there is pollinating or doing some other wonderful activity. The meeting is called to order at, I've got 1 o'clock, but my watch may be a little slow.
I have 104 on my computer, but whatever you want to do.
Okay, we'll call it 1:04. I need to fix that watch. Roll call. We're all here. Sonia Volk,
I'm
Linda
here.
Bradley. Hi, Linda.
Aye.
Chair Nancy Alienak and GM Joanne Jensen. Okay, the first order of business is to adopt the agenda from February 3rd, Friday. Any comments, or I move to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye, Sonia.
Great, unanimous. And our next order of business, whoops, I think I did the minutes before I adopted the agenda. Sorry about that. I move we adopt the agenda.
So moved. Oh, we
Okay.
did the agenda. You mean
Oh,
you
right.
want to approve the minutes of February 3rd?
Yeah,
I didn't see the minutes. Did we? Did you send them?
yeah.
Yes, she
it's a
did. They were
PDF.
attached to the agenda.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sure they're fine.
Okay, so both unanimous. Yeah, I usually put the minutes on the
With the
agenda
agenda, okay.
attached as a second or third or fourth page. Okay, so now we go to new business update, Sudden Valley Resident Handbook. And to do that, we need to go to Google Docs. And I'll share the screen. Come on. No. When I can figure out how.
It's down at the bottom. Green. Down at the very bottom of your screen, it's a green square with an arrow.
I'm not.
Open your screen up to full view.
What did I do with my screen? I knew I'd mess this up. I just knew it. Okay, view.
Nancy, what do you see on your screen? Maybe I can help.
I see two of us. There it is. I didn't have it wide enough. I do now.
Okay.
Google Docs.
So while you're opening up your Google Docs, the resident handbook hasn't been updated for quite some time. And it hasn't been mailed out to residents in quite some time. And those are two things that are unfortunate because we want to, I believe, involve residents in the community pretty quickly when they arrive. And we also want them to know what their responsibilities are to the association very quickly upon their arrival here. So the document that we had, we went through and noted some areas that were definitely in need of help. But I think there's a lot to be said for taking a slightly different approach to this. We have a new website under construction and are in need of content for that for that website. And so since all of our content should be consistent across all of the channels through which we disperse it, I think it might be a good idea to view this resident handbook as a way to develop a set of appropriate, up-to-date content on these key topics so that it can be both posted to the website and included in perhaps an abbreviated form to residents when they arrive. I think the best plan would be to have the two documents, a physical thing we send out to people and a website. I think those things should work together and not just be duplicative, but obviously they shouldn't contradict each other. So that's a little bit of context and a little bit of my opinion about this work.
I have a question, if I might, before we get started. You had said, this is for Joanne. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, when somebody buys a property, do they bring in, or how do we get the paperwork that the new owners are in the property?
That's a great question. We find out because the title company, as part of closing, settles up with Sudden Valley, and they communicate with us that a transfer of properties has occurred. Here's the first month of dues or whatever. Because if it closes in the middle of the month, the title company is probably splitting the dues payment responsibility between the two parties. And then that is our clue to change the ownership in the system.
Okay. I know when we got our property, which was years and years and years ago, we brought all of our papers into the office to the front desk and they dealt with them. And I was going to say that would be so cool, because that would be a way where you could actually give them this handbook. But that's why I asked. So thank you for answering that.
Yeah, so it's a part of our SOPs that on a weekly basis, accounting report to admin staff any properties that have turned over that have new ownership. And at that time, we are supposed to deploy a welcome letter and this handbook and invite people to visit us here in person if they would like to do that.
Okay.
So that's what we're supposed to do. I don't know how it happened before I joined, but since August 24th of last year, when I joined, nothing has been sent out. And there was nothing in place. It's not like I said, stop sending it out. It just wasn't happening.
Yeah, a comment about that handbook. Not only does it contradict what's on the web, it contradicts itself internally. So yeah, it does need a lot of work. And if you look at the number of comments on it, I think there's more comments than actual writing in some sections of that handbook. So Sonia has sent a draft of questions. And did you see that? It was kind of a last minute Sonia thing.
I got it and printed it out.
Oh, you printed it. Okay. I also put it on the Google Drive.
Oh, good.
They're useful things, certainly, to put in, but my thought is, let's go through the handbook, go through our comments, and keep what we think we can keep and delete what we think doesn't work. And then we'll just have to put it in a format that we have everything in. It's going to be really hard to keep everything consistent between the website and a handbook. That's why I really like the idea of just putting in links. and telling them where to find the link. So I will stick up this revised handbook. And it takes a minute. And I'm going to, whoops, it's still loading. I had been in share. What? Add people or groups.
So
Um,
I just, the reason I sent that document, which I mentioned in the email, is just because there's like what you guys were talking about, there's so many inconsistencies and things that need to be changed. I don't know, I feel like we're restricting ourselves. I almost feel like we just start over. And I mean, that's not to say, that there's not a couple of things in here, but I just feel like it's easier to identify what we want to put in there as opposed to trying to go through this, because there were just so many things that were not accurate or incorrect. But I agree, we should review what the comments are. I just wanted to say, I made one comment and gave up because there were so many. I would have been commenting through the whole thing. So,
Well, I soldiered on and I probably should have given up sooner. Okay, I'm gonna put myself in editing mode. And that means I can delete comments. So that's what I'll do. And then we'll save it under a different draft name. So or delete or accept. God, this thing is so okay. I don't think we need all those formatting things, so I'm just gonna accept.
Yeah, some of us just getting rid of spaces, but anytime you do that, it goes, oh, delete a paragraph.
Oh, well, I hope it didn't. I cannot get this thing bigger. Oh, here it is, 100%. We'll do it 75. That's more better. I've got a touchpad on this and I really should just get a mouse. Okay, I added May. Linda added the date. Are we good with those? I think so.
You know, I agree with Sonia that we should have stuff that is good for 10 years down the road. I don't know if that's always possible, but I put this on here because if just somebody from admin would look at this resident handbook and just every year review it and then change the year, you'd know that somebody had eyes on it and was updating it.
Well, for now, we can leave it on. If we ever
Okay.
get to a final point, Joanne, are you unhappy with that?
I think it's fine. I think we could accomplish the same thing by putting in a footer that said last updated.
I like that.
That works too, just as long as there's a date on it.
Okay, we will say last updated. I have had a terrible time with formatting on this, which is why the May is above the other one. So about all I can think of is to say last updated.
And you wanted it in footer format, right, Joanne?
Yeah.
Because
So
there
maybe,
is a footer on that.
yeah, just
page.
add a note to it, Nancy, that says, move to footer, last updated date.
Where do you see this?
If you
I
just
don't
add
see-
a comment instead of making a change,
Okay, format.
can you make a comment? Insert, perhaps, insert comment. Oh, there it is all the way at the bottom.
I see comment.
Yeah,
You
so
can
to
do,
hit
there's
that,
there's a little comment thing up on the top across from the title. And if you just put that we're gonna change the date to a footer, then we can do it later on rather than trying to struggle through this.
Okay, I'm just gonna say add footer to May.
Add footer last updated date.
As part of like either SOP or policies or something that, you know, like what Linda was referencing, these need to be reviewed, and, you know, certain things need to be reviewed annually, like we need to, you know, kind of clarify when things get reviewed, right? And like, if you're updating them, you're putting the names of the board directors and you know, all these, the GM and the contact information. So you can
Yep.
say it has to be reviewed annually in November, updated annually in November or something
Yeah.
after the AGM.
You're right.
Well, it's not even letting me do that. I think it's because I've got it screen shared.
Oops, Nancy, would that be helpful?
I'm just gonna put footer last updated. Now, see,
I'm
every
not
time
sure there even is a footer and a header on that very first page.
I don't think there is either. So
So just as a note, this document was probably created in Publisher, and it is a disaster. Anything in Publisher is quite difficult to maintain. Microsoft doesn't put a lot of time into that application, although it's still around, obviously, and it does certain things easier than you could do them in Word. But if we could just figure out how to put in a comment, and obviously we can because Linda put one in. I see her comment right there. So were you saying there's a tool?
Right up. Oh, I can't.
It's
Can everybody
blue.
see?
It's that blue, yeah, right there.
Right there. I think is
No, under the
Oh.
one below it, Nancy, it looks like a comment box with a pin in it, and it's got a drop down right below the share button. It's in blue, and then
Yeah,
there's a drop
and
down.
I switched it to suggesting. I had been in editing because
So
editing
the
allows me to.
icon that is directly to the left of the blue button that says share, can you click that?
That's that. No, we're not gonna do that.
Why wouldn't that just generate a comment? Oh, wait,
I've
though.
been trying to do that because of the
But when you did
spacing,
that,
it
Nancy,
won't
the
let
new
me.
icon showed up. So can you click that again? I'm sorry. Click that icon to the left of share. To the left. Yeah, click that. And then do you see there's a plus
A what?
in the thought bubble inside a dialog box opened when you clicked on that icon, right?
Yeah,
From where your cursor is, go straight up. Do you see that bell?
yeah,
To the right of the bell, there's a plus sign inside of a comment box.
yes.
You click that. You can add a comment. There you go.
There you go.
Yay.
And then add date last updated to footer.
Yeah, I'm not sure that very first page has a header and a footer on it. The way it takes up the whole page, it doesn't look like it probably does.
Right. So the person who will word process this will have to work around that.
Yep.
It's a common thing.
Okay, there's a comment. Okay.
Good job.
Takes a village.
Joanne just told me all that to make me feel good about that. whatever that other program was. Publisher program. Okay. So we've done that appendix. A bunch of committees went from ad hoc to standing. And
Why don't we skip the appendix?
Sonia, if that's you, turn up your volume.
You can't hear me?
Now we can, couldn't before.
So I would just say skip the appendix because that's gonna, the table of contents will repopulate once, I mean, you know, that'll be figured out once we've figured out what we're putting into the book, right?
One of the things I wanted to ask about that had to do with the comment that Joanne made and looking at this appendix the way it stands is we have the welcome. Then there's a brief paragraph about administration and management. Then way on at number 5, before the amenities, and I guess you could do those first, but it's areas of responsibility. And I thought that was supposed to be owner, kind of a part of that's the owner's responsibilities, correct?
Where are you looking?
So I'm looking at, it would be on page, stop me if I'm crazy here, page 10. It starts with, well, I guess it sort of has to do with, it's areas of responsibility. And part of that's the valleys and part of it's a member responsibilities. And I don't know if we need to look at that more. I know Joanne brought it up and it's just, we've got all this thing about committees and stuff, but should we have something about in the appendix earlier about what are the responsibilities of owners? That's kind of something that Joanne brought up. And we kind of got it buried in there again. And that's kind of something we do sometimes is we talk about things that are important that we want to put before the owners as soon as possible, but then we bury it in the document. That's all. And like Sonia says, this once we repopulate stuff, it'll determine what the appendix is going to look like.
Yeah, as long as committees does not belong up there that soon. I mean, in my opinion, things like where are the facilities,
Yeah, the
what you're
amenities.
supposed to do, that
Yep.
sort of thing belongs early, not buried at page 10.
First question that every new owner asks us, some of them come in and ask, most people call and ask, is they say, I just bought a property and I need to know how to pay my dues and when they're due. So that should be up front. And then they want to know, and how do I use the fitness center? And how do I use the pool? And is there a waiting list for, so it's all the amenities, just what Linda was saying.
Yeah.
And then close on the heels of that, they don't ask about this, but we want them to know what the rules are so that they can't leave their garbage out, for 3 days because they're going away, on Wednesday and they want it to be out on Friday. They can't do that. And we have to tell them they can't park their RV in their driveway, and they can't have friends come in their RV and be in the driveway and stay there while they're visiting, like stuff like that. The key rules about the association that would commonly crop up need to be communicated. People, as they move in, need to know that this is a dog control zone, and unless they have a fence, their dog can't be out in their yard without a leash. No one knows that.
So the document I put together, that's kind of, that was my thought too. So what I was thinking, right, what I was suggesting is that we do the welcome letter, and then like quick reference, phone numbers, main numbers, the hotline, then how to contact like the board, the GM, and each department. And then, but then when we list the facilities, in addition to describing the facilities, then we attach any associated rules, right? So let's say we've got the rec corridor, and then you break down what facilities are there at the rec corridor, and then the rules associated with it. So you'd have like the fitness center, you can give the fitness center overview along with the rules. Same thing with the pool. So they're right there. So when you're looking at pool, then you're not having to look over into the rules section to find the rules on the pools mixed in with rules about dogs, right? So I was thinking, at least that's the way my brain thinks. It's, like I don't like cross-referencing everything all the time. Especially when it's supposed to be a quick guide, like if they're only trying to look up what's going, how do I get an access card? How do I get into the pool? How do I, can I bring my kids to the quiet pool? It's kind of nice if it's all in one spot, right?
Mhm.
And if they would look up about dogs, then all the information about dogs and pets can be in, like under that section.
Did we even include the dog park anywhere in this? Or and when we were kind of looking, I don't think they even mentioned that in the initial appendix.
No, there's a lot of things in there that they didn't list, and they don't, they're not referenced correctly, like,
Oh, there's the playground. It says there's the marina. I apologize. It says
Yeah.
gate 1, marina, boat launch, wet and dry slips, and playground and off-leash dog area.
And that could all be in one place, but it's in several places and it's all described differently. So what it needs to be in one place, and along with, you want to get into the rec center, or you want to get into the pool in the rec center, you need a card. Here's where you get a card. I thought this was going to be an easy task until I got into it.
But I don't think it is, and I like Nancy and I had a visit last week, Sonia, when you couldn't make the meeting. Like we say, there's that whole long resident resource thing. And it would be nice in as much of this that we can get away with, simply sending people to a link that's in the resident resources.
sure. I think though, some of this though does need to be in here, like, what Joanne was saying. So, like if you make it where it's a guidebook, a handbook, and imagine like that's what you have, a quick reference guide, right? The first thing you want to, you put the main numbers on the front. You can put the outside agencies and vendor contacts on the back, like the utilities. How do I contact the utilities? Et cetera. All of those things can go on the back. The phone numbers for the association can go in the front, and then prioritize, like for instance, a map where, to show that where all of the facilities are located, right? You put a map, you put the description and explain those facilities. And then the brief overview stuff like governing documents, et cetera, those things can be links. But the same thing, like members, the things they look for is where's my mailbox? How do I find the mailbox? How do I get into the mailbox? My mailbox is frozen, right? Like there's things like that, parking, pets. Those are all I think we consider what are the primary issues with members, so that they can actually find that initial overview, and then we can direct them to the complete rules and regs and everything else on the website. But it's a matter of determining, what I don't think the governing documents need to be, that's all you need on here is a link to the governing documents, right?
I agree.
And go ahead, Nancy.
Yeah, I'm agreeing.
Yeah, so then the other, so it's just a matter of what exactly, what type of blurb and everything like that. The other thing too, kind of references back to responsibilities. I kind of put it under security, but like where to find the emergency preparedness info. Cause we keep hearing people saying they don't know any of this stuff. I don't understand. I mean, for me, I know, these things are not actually issues. And so it's a matter of, making that easy to find and explaining to them who's actually legally responsible for evacuating, who the association has to defer to, because Washington state law and Whatcom County law dictates that, not the association. But it also, the other issue that we hear all the time is our community members are always contacting security, and some of these issues are actually law enforcement issues, right? And like we've had people ask for security to come over because they heard a noise and asked them to come search their house. That's when you call the Whatcom County Sheriff's Department. So one of the things I put on here is like, or I was suggesting anyway, of like when to call law enforcement, right? Versus here's the responsibility of Southern Valley's security, because that seems to be an ongoing issue. And I'm jumping around because, but the other is one thing is like listing some of these clubs. But the problem with the clubs is we don't really have a policy about how anything's determined to be an official club. Like how do you become a club with the association? So then we got a problem of what are we promoting? Are we promoting the gun club? Are we promoting the, Whatcom County Satan worshipers club? I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, it seems like we would put some outline about how do you become an official Southern Valley club? And then clubs can be listed in here, like the garden club and I don't know, there's a ping pong club and I think a bridge club.
Yep, that's
Things
right.
like that.
I think for the clubs, you just say there's a contact admin for a list of clubs, of active clubs, or a bulletin board.
Well, we know
Because otherwise you get,
that's all we know. I mean, like Sonia was saying, if you were the neo-Nazis of Whatcom County and one of you was a member, you could reserve the card room and you could meet there. But, did they get our imprimatur? Did they get, these are a Sudden Valley club? I guess they could.
I wonder if there's any guidelines and I know with CAI or whatever, that talks about clubs in HOAs and stuff, because I don't think there's anything in the bylaws.
There's not. So it would be up to
Isn't.
us to make a policy on that. And of course, now keep in mind, we don't follow CAI either. I mean,
I know
can
we
use
don't.
your
I'm saying
guidelines,
they might have some good ideas.
but I think that's something that, as the document review committee and with Joanne here, I think that's something that we actually need to drill down on, because we run into that, like even about what should we list in the views, right? Because
there's a number 6 on our agenda, new topics, and I have just put on there SVCA clubs policy.
okay.
What do you think, Nancy?
I wonder if that's beyond our ability to dictate or to throw out to the board. I mean, you don't know really where the line is between our local Proud Boys chapter and, as Joanne said,
Wait a minute. I'm out of the loop here.
worshipers, whatever they are.
So Joanne, would it help what is your thought on that?
I do think we need to know what are clubs that are recognized by the association and whose activities we will report on in the views, and whose meetings we will report in our calendar. And leaving that up to my decision or the decision of the admin team seems to be fraught with problems.
Maybe it's something, that's why I say, can we put that on our agenda for next time? And like Sonia, Nancy, and I can all take a look at what's out there for information. You know, I found that Googling stuff, there's all sorts of stuff you can find.
Well, why don't we just have a policy that says Sudden Valley will have some approved clubs?
Then you have to
To be
discuss, then you have to
determined.
determine how do you get approved.
Right,
Well-
I did exactly what Linda was saying. I Googled some other homeowners associations and some of them say, you know, like there's parameters, right? Like you have to basically have a charter for your club, what your club's doing, and you have to have a minimum number of members in order for the association to acknowledge that it's a
To
legitimate.
recognize it.
Yeah, and it
I
can't
think
violate.
there's stuff like that we could do a draft sort of a thing to at least get us started. Because clearly, you know, like we once again, the ham radio club is back and operating. So I think, you know, it makes good sense to, you know, if we don't have a policy, and Sonia's, you know, there's, you know, people out there that could, you know, readily make it ugly, and then you make a draft and send it into the attorney.
No.
So, what Sonia kind of put on the table, and we've alluded to it, but there's this concept of maybe we should scrap the current handbook and draft a new handbook, drawing material from the old handbook and using this new approach that we're thinking of, which is what do I need in the book in my hand versus what is better served by being sent to the internet. And I don't think we have to worry too much about whether people have an internet connection, because we can also say in the book, if you don't have an internet connection, please visit our welcome center where you can access any of this information. And we can easily make that available for people to either use a web browser to see what we have on our website and or print that content right here so that they can take it away in their hand if they need to.
Go ahead, Joanne.
I was just going to say, that's our concept, right? You know, are we agreed that we kind of need to scrap the old and adopt this new format concept?
I think before we do that, there are some bits of verbiage in here that are worth preserving. So let's go through it and find the bits of verbiage we like, delete everything else, and we can then just rename the draft as residual handbook or whatever.
Leftovers.
Okay. Winners. Okay, so do you want to start at the beginning and do that? I mean, the contents can obviously go because that's what we're going to change.
Right.
I mean,
the only thing, I think we got through the first page, we're at the next page that's there available. And I don't know if we are any longer the largest. I don't know that we even want to deal with that with the appendix right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We'll delete it. And this will be the residual handbook.
Okay.
Is Sonia, are you okay with that?
You're the chair.
Yeah, but we all have a voice in this.
Okay.
Linda?
We're fine. You know, get rid of the appendix and for now, and then we'll see what we end up with when we go through the document, because we may find that we're going to have to insert or move or whatever the different sort of information.
I would get rid of that whole first page, but I don't know. Let me see where
Page
we
4,
are.
you mean?
Well, I'm not sure we want that cover in color because that means you have to print it in color.
Well, so let's don't worry about any of that stuff because it's going to have to be branded along with everything else. So I know Joanne's been working on that. So that's something that staff can figure out as far as the
Okay, so we're
branding
going
of
to
the
get
cover.
rid of, damn it. the appendix. Come on. Ugh.
Sometimes it only goes so far and then it goes, nope, I'm only gonna do this much.
Yes, I know. Okay, where's my edit, delete. Okay. And I don't know what line spacing, whatever that is. I have to get rid of
Yeah,
these.
I know.
So I can get rid of that. Okay, so I can maybe I can get up to it this way. There,
Ooh, you almost got it.
yeah. Edit. Delete. I guess what I need to do is not be so greedy and try and grab such a large chunk of it at one time. I must have missed that. Okay. Okay. Now we're at the welcome. Do we want to mess with this?
The only thing I put in there, I don't know that we are, it says in there that we're the largest. Given how old this was, that might be the truth. I don't know that it is any longer. So I just simply said that we are one of the largest. That's all I changed that very first paragraph to say. I don't know that we're the largest anymore. I think there's a couple down towards Seattle and Sammamish and stuff that now have us beat.
Okay. Part of the problem is this really isn't set up to be on a
Edited, yeah,
laptop
that's right.
screen. Welcome to just, and is one up. That's good.
Just be a welcome letter that would come from like the GM or the president. You know what I'm saying? Like just an introductory letter.
It should come from the association.
Yeah. It doesn't need to come from a named group
Okay.
because that names change on the board and in administration. So this handbook was never signed. It was written by Grace Schaffner, which shows you how old it is. And I'm referring to the handbook, not Grace. So,
You know, maybe you take those first two paragraphs that are on that page you're showing there, and you add to the top of those something that would make it the welcome letter to the owner. Like, because it said we're governed by, welcome to your new home. It says part of what a welcome letter should say already.
okay, you want to put a header in there that says, or just a line above it that says welcome?
Well, it says welcome to your new home. And I don't know if you just simply make a place where you can, I'm just saying part of what we want to say is already there.
So what do you want to put in there? Welcome to Sudden Valley is the header on every page.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm not going to touch it. I'm sure there's a way to change that, but I'm not touching it. I could just put a line in front of it, say an extra line that says, welcome to Sudden Valley. Or welcome to, whatever, just welcome. How about that?
That works. We can think about that. I think everybody will think of something if we put something in there, because part of what we want to say is right there.
Yeah. We'll make it bigger font. Maybe even. Okay. Somebody can change that.
And like there's things you could add to it, but I'm saying the basic message to the opening message to any owner is there in those couple of paragraphs. It's actually quite well said.
Yeah. Okay, I was thinking somewhere I know I've seen a thing that centers it. Oh, here it is. Center. Oh, come on. Ah. Yay. Okay. And do you want to change anything on administration and management?
Not really. It kind of says it all.
Oh, I changed the board to, I took that out, so it's just assisting in resolution of residents' problems. Because it's better if residents go to administration first before writing letters to the board.
So
I saw that change.
Is that okay?
I personally wouldn't do it like this. I would feel like I'm not quite sure why we're writing that in paragraph form. I mean, like we're trying to give them quick information. It feels like to me that we would do it like we're going to give them information on the GM. We're going to give them information on the board. We're going to give them information on meetings, right? So are we going to repeat this stuff? Are we not going to give them actual additional information?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because
You're saying if we're going to put in the first paragraph, we're going to describe this board, then do you write a whole list and their contact information where you talk about that in your Sonia, in your note that you wrote?
right. I feel like you could take the same language that what you're talking about if you like this language, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're saying, let's say it talks about the board of directors, blah, blah, blah. You could stick that like we're giving an explanation, like when you go to the section that says board of directors, you can give the little blurb right there about the board of directors, and then we can list the board of directors and their contact, emails. So you're listing the
Yeah,
current,
so it's all in one place. Gotcha.
and then the same thing for the general manager, where you're describing the general manager.
And admin, then you put them above that list that you're going to have for the GM, department managers, rec department, golf,
Right.
right?
That's what I
Hey,
think.
that works for me. I have no problem with that.
Okay, do we want to call it administration and management, or can we do something less formal and just say how we operate? Or
Well, I'm saying we don't actually have to do that. Like if you do it where like, okay, if you're doing a welcome letter and then you're gonna do whatever you want to call it, quick, like,
Quick reference numbers and contact stuff and
yeah,
info.
like a contact,
Yep.
Sun Valley contact list or something like that. And then you do it like that. So you'll do it under there. It'll be the first things that they're actually seeing, right? They're gonna see the main phone numbers. They'll see the information about the board, who to contact, the GM. It'll be like all listed under there.
The
So
only thing is Joanne's thoughts on what do people want to know first? Should that be earlier?
Well,
See,
remember, we're
that's the
just-
question. Do you put the SVC, the operations part of it before the board with all the contact information, as Sonia suggested, for the general manager, the department managers? I don't, that's another thing that's Joanne's input. Right now, I don't think we have contact information, phone and email for some of the department managers, et cetera, et cetera.
I really don't like putting emails in this because they get unused, like GM at suddenvalley.com, and go off into nowhere, and no one knows that someone was trying to get to the GM.
But that's why see, for years, and I don't know why we've stopped doing it. People do what is natural to them to do. If they want to reach Joanne, they want to go to GM at Sudden Valley. So I think this page 4, which is kind of like the first real page, we would do real well to have at least make sure that the admin information is on that page.
Well, the phone number's listed in there,
so
but it's in the
and
body.
the only way to contact the board is via emails.
Yes, I
And
agree
the
with you
same
on that,
committee
and
chair.
that's no problem. That's
So-
what I'm saying. We could switch those 2 paragraphs and basically have operations there. And then all of the ops phone numbers and whatever we decide, like I say, right now, to my knowledge, unless I haven't looked recently, there isn't a phone number for, there is for security. But I don't think there is for maintenance or golf maintenance, which really isn't. You golf, just the main number to Brian is all they need, I think.
But we do not want people to randomly call department managers. We want them to go through admin so that we can track things. That's teaching them to do the process that we'll eventually have with our ticketing system. So that's a concern for me, if you want to put their contact info in there.
I'd rather not, because there's no way for maintenance to prioritize if they get just a
So-
pile of individuals saying, do this, do this, do this.
Okay,
First
so,
one-
so what we should do then, okay, is, but still sticking with that plan of those, we prioritize what the contact stuff is. Joanne can give us what that needs to be, right? GM, we can take the board and committee chair information, hold that back,
Yep.
to the board section. But all this other stuff, Joanne can just give us the contact list, because it'll be like, for instance, the rec department or golf. They have like different numbers in the main number.
Yes, yeah.
And
And they
we
do
could just,
have it on the main pages too.
yeah, so we could,
Does it for Marina also or not?
no, they go through the rec department.
Okay.
And, so Joanne, could you do that? Like come up with
Sure.
what needs to be in the quick reference thing?
Sure.
Or contact list, or I don't know, whatever it's called.
Joanne, do you want them emailing the department managers, or no, that's to come?
No. No
Then
direct-
we should put
No.
a sentence or two. I've got you. Then we should put a sentence or two under this contact thing to tell people, for anything that you might need, please, do it through the front office, ... which would mean you also give them the main, the main line into admin.
Right, so remember, we discussed that we would take a new approach to this and this document of a welcome handbook, right? A
Yep.
residence handbook. And we said that we would go through this document simply to identify what content was useful to retain as a reference for putting together that new document. So anything about ordering on here, I think that gets us ahead of, or is
Okay.
outside the scope of what
Okay.
Nancy described.
Okay, so why don't we just go from the welcome letter? Or
Okay,
the
so these
welcome
two are
pen.
gonna go where they're supposed to go. So we've agreed with that. They'll probably, the content is probably fine, right? On the administration and management, they'll
there's-
just
yeah.
go GM and board. We'll just put them in the right place.
I put the general manager first because the board is really governance. And I'm considering just dropping that board, just
We'll delete this.
putting another.
Yeah,
better-
we'll put it in the other section.
So I probably spelled governance wrong.
No, it's spelled right. It just looks funny because part of it's capital. There you go.
Format. Indent. Center. And get rid of this. Okay. Hold. Where? Oops, well, it doesn't like that, so it has to stay like that. Okay, is that okay? Because we've got welcome, administration, and a short thing on governance.
But
The,
we were gonna put these definition, we were gonna put them with what they belong to, like the thing about the general manager would go under when like Joanne's gonna put that list together, the contact list, and it's gonna say general
Oh.
manager, and it'll give a brief description of the general manager's responsibilities. And then when we have that section on the board, they give a brief description of about the board. So they'll just go in a different location. It's fine. You can leave it there for now.
yeah, but this goofy thing has shown up that's related to a widget. And I don't want the widgets. It does this periodically. It's an ad thing. And I don't really know how to get rid of it. Because see, it's on top of everything.
Well, I think as long as we're happy with it, what comes after this next? Isn't it committees?
There.
Next page down?
Yeah, I think it is.
You can fussellate with it when you want, and we can decide, like if we decide we want to put phone numbers and stuff under the admin there before we get to the board, peachy keen.
Okay, we've got standing committees with of what they do and ad hoc committees.
So the only thing here is I would eliminate the ad hoc committee, any reference to any ad hoc committees. They don't exist. They shouldn't be on here. Like, you should just explain what an ad hoc committee is and give the definition based on the bylaws.
Yeah, because every year they're gonna be different.
Okay,
Or not,
so
just
we
the-
get rid of the whole whole thing?
Well, you can still, you would leave at the title ad hoc committees, and then we can take a section from the bylaws that explain ad hoc committees and put it in there.
If you look up above, Nancy, there's a thing where it starts to talk about, where it talks about it says several committees have been created, da, 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 and then it says standing committees by an ad hoc, but then it describes what ad hoc committees are, formed for a specific person, but leave the standing part of it with standing, and then get right up here, that first paragraph. It's almost like you can divide that,
Yeah, that's good. I agree.
you know?
Yeah, that's a thought, standing committees. You know, I'll bet I know what the problem is. I did not plug this in.
I think if we agree, since we pretty much agree, right? on
Yeah,
this,
it's just
and then-
the language, some of the language needs to be, it's almost
You
like
do.
there needs to be a period after that. Two kinds, standing committees per our, then all that needs to get fixed.
Yeah,
Okay, standing committees. There are standing
You could say
Yes.
the first sentence, several committees have been created by the board to serve the community's needs, period. Then you can do away
Yeah.
with, then do that whole thing about the standing and the ad hoc, and then take up where it says these committees meet throughout the year. Oops, nope.
Now, we'll just put
No.
standing committees and ad hoc as there is, and various as needed, or just a statement as needed.
Because you could describe what ad hoc is.
yeah, just say describe ad hoc committee, just do that, and then we can do
Yep.
that offline.
Okay. Wow, I gotta get rid of this. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of, where did that just go?
It says this communications committee underneath there. You just don't want to list anything under ad hoc. Just want-
Description only.
Describe what is an ad hoc committee?
Right,
Yeah.
then remove what's below.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, I'd already gotten rid of some of the others. Oh, now what is it?
You should be able to just hit backspace now that it's highlighted.
I seem to have lost some of my,
They're in the middle, those boxes there. So one says plus, one says right. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. Now, that's what I wanted, editing. But I can't get rid of it because I can't, the screen doesn't go over that far.
Can you push backspace and it should it should cross it out. Once you have it highlighted and you just backspace on your computer.
Well, I can hit delete too,
Okay.
doesn't do anything. It's because my screen has changed itself. When I work on this program, I do it on a desktop with a big screen. But for me to share screen with you, I have to use a Microsoft account.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, we
don't-
know that we don't want that, so it's fine to leave it like that and then we can fix it later.
Okay. I wonder why this. Fit? No. Somehow I got a ruler in here. Got it. Well. Nope. I've lost all that other stuff. Maybe if I, no, I don't want to do that. Well, I can't really do anything with it, so. This has never happened on this, but there's always a first time. Maybe I'll try and get out of it. 'Cause there's really not much I can do until I can figure out how to get the screen back. Maybe if I make this smaller, there we go. And move this whole thing over. No. Well, there, that'll work. Well, I think, okay, so we know that we want to remove it. So it's okay, Nancy. We'll just take it off after. Yeah,
Okay.
but I couldn't even. Here,
Yeah, you can delete all that now.
yep. There it goes. Except that. This one bigger. So maybe just make a note, remove all committee reference or something, and then you don't have to sit there and try to keep figuring out how to delete them. And we can do that later. Okay. I think I pretty much got rid of this whole thing, but well, I'll go back in. And Parks and Trails too.
Yeah.
Okay, what else have we got down here? Amenities. I'm not sure what to call a amenity and what to call a facility. So the facilities, the facilities are the actual, like the buildings, the infrastructure, that type of thing. So that I think we break it down, by the facility itself and then what's inside the facility, right? Or what's associated with that facility.
So
Yeah,
let's,
so the way that the website does it is to say there are activities and then to say where those activities are. If you go to if you say, what's in the rec center, that's a different question than what's all the stuff I can do at Sudden Valley? So you have to almost present that information in two different ways. I kind of feel like while this is helpful, obviously, to get your input into this content, that since the document has to be rewritten, this is somewhat less helpful than some other things. And I don't know when the next meeting of this team will be, but I would like to show you the beta site that has the new structure to it. Because this document, this handbook needs to work in the same way, right? And we can still make changes to the website, obviously, but it's harder than making changes to the document. So this document should be copying the website. You see what I mean?
Yeah, because we've really got what we want. There were those few paragraphs in the front that were pretty good, but all this stuff about the parks, we have to decide where it goes. There's a couple other things. Do we like this insurance and maintenance?
so I think it's probably fine. I think that we're probably on something like that, we probably need to make sure with the attorney that we've caveated all of our responsibilities there, that we're saying it correctly, because it's real important. I mean, so that may need to be looked at a little closer, but it definitely needs to be there. Just like the financial thing needs to be there.
And there's some other useful things like do's and don'ts.
Well, I think if Joanne, what I hear Joanne saying, and maybe I'm wrong here, is there's already a draft of
Yeah,
what's going to go on the new website.
Right. I
That
think
we-
what happened is that this came over without the full request. It came over from a staff member, and it didn't really request the way it needed to be.
okay, do you want me to just save this? We'll get out of it and Joanne can show us this new.
Yeah, I think that's a good plan. We know some of the things we'd like to correct here, because of wanting people to have something in a written format. But I think her showing what's online, because unless they're going to print out what's online for a resident handbook, they're going to differ.
Okay, I'll save it and stop screen sharing. Joanne, do you want to?
Yeah, let me open it up and then I'll start
Okay,
sharing.
now stop share. Stop share.
Thank you, Nancy.
Oh, that was terrible.
It's a
It
lot.
really was.
It's a lot of little pieces that until you're into it, it doesn't seem so complicated.
Well, it's not just that, it's the program and the way it works on this
Yeah.
computer. That's the problem. But there is no solution to that.
Okay, so it looks familiar, but it's new.
So is that thing going to be smaller on the new website? Because that takes up so much space when you open the website up. I know you didn't ask me that question, but
I don't know what you mean by that thing.
that header, that photo header takes
The
up.
Yeah, it takes up the whole screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of supposed to. So here's the concept, is
Okay.
this landing page is, yeah, you're in the right spot. What do you want to do? I think it's weird that this is here, but that's because I'm on widescreen and this site is modulated to work on a number of different devices.
Yeah. So
But this menu is here, so you can get to About. This is Activities. News and Events. Our favorite resident resources. contact. Okay, and then
Comment as a blind person. I
Where
can't.
was golf? Was that under
Well-
activities?
So does learn more there take you down into all these different things, or you have to go to the
no, it's not active. So this is a beta, and there's a lot of stuff missing. But
Okay,
like you see this text here, this is filler text. This is bad Latin, right? And you can just pick this up and
Yep.
put it somewhere. So, but you can see how the announcements come in here, and then activities, it's a gallery. The format is that there are events here that come from the calendar, and then again, this is the menu reprinted at the bottom.
So this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I literally can't read that. Like I have like so many magnifiers on my thing, but because of this thinness of these letters, and
Oh, it's not
anybody
coming
that's got a
up.
visual problem, and then especially up here on that photo that's got like stuff behind it, anytime that like you got variation in color, like behind those words, if those words aren't bigger or thicker,
bold, and I hear what you're saying, Sonia.
yeah, I can't. It
You
doesn't matter.
almost lose the word about in the clouds there.
Yeah, it's really difficult to read.
Even if they're bigger, because they're white, they'll run
Right,
into a
exactly.
color
I made it
problem.
real big and I still can't hardly see it.
I don't know what color you'd make them though. Black would be just as
Well, I
bad.
think they just need to be bigger and bolder, maybe. Just comment from, because I'm sure there's a lot of other older people. I mean, I know I have
Yeah.
other visual problems, but it's just, you get older too, it's harder to read this stuff.
So, Joanne, is resident resources filled out at all?
This
Where it's
Right.
it's the welcome
This-
materials, is that?
this site, this beta site, took text and content from the main site. So like if we go to the
So I
view-
can go look on the current Sudden Valley website and that'll give me the answer to my question, correct?
Right, this is the same page as, it's just in a slightly
I gotcha.
format. You see what I mean? So,
I gotcha.
yeah,
So where are the, all right, so where is the listing of the facilities and the,
right here.
I was just missing a lot of them is what it is.
Yeah,
Because this says activities.
right. And that's a catch-all because remember, you have to think about the website like not necessarily a person in the know. Right? So this is all stuff to do. And honestly, do people care that it's in this building or that building? No, they don't really think about it that way. They want to know, where can I go swimming?
Well, but it doesn't
Yeah,
say
but
that.
swimming's not on there, neither
Yeah.
is the rec center
There's
Well,
not, the
so
rec
I'm
center's
saying-
not there.
or
Right.
the gym.
This is where we need to focus to develop the content, and then we take a subset of this and put it in a book. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
Because there's a ton of stuff that's missing. It's just not on the website.
And then
Or
you,
it's not on the
and
website.
then by putting just a dining set, see, to me, it would be like, my thought was, because then by doing this, then now we're advertising when you break it down like that, and we don't own the, like if you did it by the clubhouse and you say tenant, like if you say these tenants are in the facility, like it doesn't.
Okay. I wasn't sure why dining was on the format that I got given, but it was, so it's here. But this is stuff that's this is how people think of things. So I personally believe that this bucket of activities is not a bad thing because like I said, you don't want to say, today I want to learn about the clubhouse. You say, I want to pay my bill. I want to see the ACC person. I want to get my project approved. I want to play a game of golf. So this makes sense to me, but this set of items is wrong, or it's not.
Well, and for dining, just between you and me, if I was new to the Valley, the very first place I ever went and ate was at Tino's, which isn't even part of Sudden Valley.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about dining in the valley, you can go to the little itty bitty to-go shop in the
I didn't
you
put
know,
dining on here. I'm just saying, I think it's
Yeah.
weird there. Right? But,
I gotcha.
but my point is, this list and the things on this list seems like a good thing for this committee to decide. And truly, if you disagree with me about activities and you want to go back to facilities versus something else, okay. But I'm just trying to make the case to you that an individual doesn't articulate a need in the way that you're organizing the information. Once you have all,
Yeah.
it's
So,
convenient to
so my
organize.
thought would be that, see, I think activities, then we are in the wrong, so this is the thing, you've got a section where you go activities and it says special events. Then you have a section that says news and events. I think what that section should be is amenities, if you're going to do it like that. And then
Oh,
you
I
put
hear what Sonia's saying.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, except for the fact that amenities is not a word people understand. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Activities though, like the whole thing that Sonia's saying, like special events is at the very top. To me, I put that down at the bottom. That's only going to be something that happens every now and then. Or I would put it over in news and events
Yeah.
and not even have it there and start with golf, the marina, the pools, the
Yeah,
gym, the health club.
I think this is stuff to do, and this is stuff that's happened or is happening,
Okay.
right? And then whatever words we use to describe it, I think that's fine. And I don't love activities, but it was the best of several bad choices.
Yeah.
So, but see, to me, if we think about these things, these main categories here, and we make sure we have the right categories and that they're called something that makes sense to us and is appropriate for the association. And then what's underneath them is the right list of things, then the handbook writes itself. Because we'll just take the subset of these things or like make a little statement that says, you can find a whole list of parks, in the little handbook, it says Sun Valley, million parks. And you can find out where each of them is located and what's at each of them by going to the website. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. What's under about? Would you open it up for me, Joanne?
There we go. So this is like the intro pages that we were just talking about.
Yep. Committees, yep. AGM and voting.
Right. And then departments, that makes sense. The board of directors.
What's under open departments for me?
I frankly don't know what's in there. Oh, look, we have the
Oh,
department.
nice.
So this is kind of cool, actually, right?
Yeah.
Because put rules and stuff, and then it's just a format, though. There's no content there. Board of directors.
I understand.
Right.
Do you really want to have maintenance there? Because the thing is, when you see departments, people are going to want to contact them. That's fine if it's security and administration. But
so
if it's maintenance, you don't want that.
I would like to suggest that you put a link on the front page that allows people to pay their dues. Because you can pay your dues electronically.
Oh, yeah. And
There's
is
a bank.
that anywhere? Oh, there really should be. There should maybe be one of those little white things none of us can read that's called dues and fees.
Yeah. Or just payments.
Oh, that either or, you're right.
Because that was Joanne's number one thing people wanted to know. Where and
Right,
how.
yeah, how will I pay my dues? Okay, got it. And yeah, I don't think this is great. I actually think it would be better. You see how well this stands out?
Yep.
If we did this menu in a green bar at the front and then security,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
maybe
do
a little
security
bit,
in
'cause
orange or something.
security, yeah, security, I think that might be a little bit, no, maybe it's not. It looks like it might be a little bit bigger font. Maybe I'm dreaming.
it might be
Well, bold.
bolded.
It's
yeah,
bold,
it's
okay.
high contrast. So because the dark green is almost reads as black, and
Yep.
these fade right into the picture, which is massive. I agree. Because when you're looking at it like this, you don't even know that there's stuff down.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. But then what I could do is I could take screenshots and send you, here's what it looks like on the front page. Here's what's currently on the menu. Here's what's underneath.
Yep.
And then
Like
if
it'd
you,
be nice to know about departments, you know.
yeah, then we could, get together and take them. Like, and sort of go from there, like decide, should this be amenities? Is there another word for amenities? I actually think I looked that up in a
So
thesaurus.
what you could do though is, I get why you're saying that. So the other option is to add one other, another section that is facilities that just breaks it down. It'll give the facilities map. It will break them down by facility. It's just another way to do it, that details it. So you've got activities and then you've got, the actual facilities, or that could go under the resident resources, I guess. I would also on here, I would have an emergency preparedness page. That's a easy link straight from the front page too.
I don't know that we need to take up too much of our front page with emergency preparedness.
Just a link, and it's primarily because people don't, first of all, they keep saying they don't know where anything is and what they're supposed to do. I'm not sure why, but
What's under resident resources, Joanne? I know you're gonna share all this with us, but
Yeah, since we're looking at it, it's right here. So,
I see. See, to me, that's where emergency preparedness should go.
Yeah.
Under resident resources somewhere. Maybe I'm wrong.
well, you could do that and then just highlight, like, those are like little bars actually. You could highlight the emergency preparedness, like the security thing. So then when it drops down, it's right there. It's real obvious.
On the top
Yeah,
in bold, something like that,
yeah.
because that is the resident resources. I mean, I hate to take something like emergency preparedness and put it on the front page.
Front and center. Yeah, that's why I was
Mm.
thinking under resident resources.
Yeah,
You want to make it the very top thing? Peachy keen.
fine. You want to
Yeah.
bold it? That's good too.
Yeah.
yeah.
I kind
okay.
of like the idea of a facilities too, because that's where you can put a map. And you could, because once, oh, great, a pool, where is it?
Mhm.
Oh, and that's something I don't see under any of these headings. Are maps for wherever to locate stuff, no matter where it is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the other
you
thing is
could-
missing is snow. You know how everybody, our snow plan is such a big deal. So I almost feel like the snow removal plan should be a standing thing.
That,
Could we-
yeah, some of that. Mm.
You know, sometimes too, snow plans, Joanne, and I don't know how our new maintenance guy is, but the snow plans have changed over the years, depending upon how many new buildings have gone in. Like when I first moved up here, my road did not get plowed. They plowed Louisview, but they never plowed out here. But now that there are more houses and Sonia's up above me even, we're secondary. We're still not, and I think Loganberry's tertiary even. But that changes as more people get added to more buildings get built. You know, and we're not even there yet. There's like 400 of them still can be built.
So
It's
what-
not just more buildings, it's more attention to something other than,
Yeah,
Well, so like under resident resources, you could list like management, board, the plans, right?
Well, if you think about it, this whole website is a resource, so I think you do want to be a little careful, because the board and, I
yeah.
mean,
I
can.
like that that's stuck all over there about and about. I like that, Joanne.
So
That's
do
where
I.
it belongs.
Okay, so, and these are different sort of things too, and I'm not sure if it's obvious that they would be in about, but whatever. But like I said, if you guys could think about this, I think it would be very helpful, and I can send you too the link so you can play around, but keep in mind that it's all content that was already developed, and all of that content will need to be reviewed, and there's content missing. Like
Yeah,
Parks and
there's some of this stuff that's in some of the resident resources that are tons of 404 stuff.
Yeah,
There
know?
is a nice parks brochure kind of that I just
The whole
printed out
thing.
as a PDF.
right. Do you see this though? This format was developed, so we have like one park for which this works. Well, now we have, a lot more parks, right? So
But
this
they're
is,
all in there. There should be whole bunches of them in there like that.
She's just meaning this website was only set
Oh,
up.
I understand. I'm sorry.
We
right,
have geocaching.
so
right,
all of this stuff needs to be done now.
Yeah.
Who does the geocaching?
Hmm.
Or is that just something that's on the list?
I have no idea, Nancy.
Okay.
Right, so anyhow, this is a framework that was built, and you can see how much work there is left to do. Right, and so some of these things, what we can do is we can put them in under construction. So when you click on it, you don't go to it yet. And then because we very quickly want to be able to have these things, well, not AGM and voting, but the board of directors and the committees working. Right, and we want
Yes.
events to be working, the events calendar, and we
Yes.
want the basic resident resources to be available. And then we can launch this and stop with the 404 errors. So what I would consider basic are the ability to post meetings for board of directors and committees. And then having departments and having the mission and vision is just basic. We could do that.
Mhm.
We need to have the events calendar working, and we
And
need to
link back to that board meeting thing like it used to be, so you're not doing double dipping.
correct, and then have the resident resources here. If we have that set of things, then we can launch this new website and be servicing our community better. And then we can worry about this, which is a lot of extras. And, where to put the hot button to security, and where to, how to hook up the dues payments. Like, we'll keep layering on that functionality, but get the basics done first.
Yeah. Well, that one thing you showed with the park, Joanne, it had the map to show you how to get there and everything.
Right,
Yeah.
all you gotta do is stick in a link to that handbook.
Yeah.
Or I printed it as a PDF. I can give you that PDF. You could just link to the PDF and they'd have to page through, but that would work because it's the same sort of display.
Well, what we need to do for each park, right, is to clone this because it was created as a template, and then fill it in with the different information, like type in the new address and find the pictures of the park and list out the different features that that park has.
Well,
It
we're,
is
we've got a
all
page that has all
in
of
the
that.
handbook.
It's available. Staff should be able to do that. Because
Yeah,
there's a parks master plan with photos and it lists out like the stuff. I'm pretty sure
And
that
it
was
shows
done.
how to get there, the different row, if there's actually a map that shows how to get to Maple Leaf.
And we have the parks map, an actual parks map that highlights all
Shows
the
them all.
parks.
Does it show them all, Sonia?
Yeah, it shows all of them.
Right.
there is the handbook I put on the Doc Review Google Drive. So you can click on it and see what all is there. But somebody can just take out photo and all of the information from that handbook and put it in this format.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, there's probably some better photos and stuff like that, but that's a start for building those. And then we can maybe, if somebody could take better photos if need be moving forward.
Right. So the basics that we need to launch, and I'll put this in the message that I send you that has.
Okay, that works.
The basics are the board of directors page and the committee page. We can leave this under construction. This whole activities thing will be under construction. News and events. News is announcements. So that's something we.
That's already kind of a done thing. There's nothing we can do with any of that.
Right.
It needs to be just linked up. And then events is the events calendar, which the person doing this beta is working to sort out right now. And then under resident resources, this content already exists. And so it's all in place. But I think it would be a good thing if we could review each of these.
Oh, definitely, and see what is in there and what are we repeating ourselves, or can we express ourselves more clearly and less?
Right, and let's make sure we have, well, first of all, welcome materials is exactly what we're talking about today, right? So.
Yep, is there anything in there?
But the rest of these categories are pretty much set. So if we can get those couple of things done, this website can launch. I'm working to make sure the events calendar and the announcements are proper. And then we already have a board of directors and we have committee pages. So those are working. This will be under construction. That'll be under construction. So that we don't have to worry about them. Probably this page, we could either just use the graphic that was developed, or you guys could, make it what you want. And then this whole thing is under construction. And then, like I said, these things.
You want us to focus on that, and you're going to send us this link and we can see, is there anything, what's under common forms? Does that have all the forms that are currently on the website? But
Yes.
that's something for us to check.
Precisely. So if we can do that, then this will be well advanced. We'll be able to launch to this, and then we can decide what content needs to be specially prepared for this.
I see what you're saying.
So you want from us a header and a set of links? Is that how you want this?
Well, I think she's saying review it, make a determination. These are likely the headers that what she's trying to stick with, and then we're determining like the subcategories under there, and if there's something missing or it needs to be added.
So
Right.
you want all this stuff on the doc moved to say all the forms, we'll dump them out on the Google Drive and go over them? Or you want just a list maybe?
I think the forms are already there. They're already on the website. So if there's not a 404, they should all be there.
If some of this staff can.
Yeah, I would think staff could do that because.
Okay.
Oh, this is nice.
What?
This is
I have like
nice.
one and
I'm
a half
sorry.
people
I'm busy.
working at it.
I'm busy.
I want to
I'm
know what
already-
Joanne is saying because she said something about staff.
Right. At this moment in time, and I've taken steps to address this, but I have 1.5 people working in admin with me. Okay, so taking 2 hours out of my day to meet with you, this is an important topic, but that means I'll be here till past 8 tonight. We really need to have other resources help us do this work. This is a huge project. And I can hire somebody to do the parks thing and take the content we already have and put it in that new format. But I don't have people on staff with the experience to take a look at some of the content that's already been developed to say, well, that's not right, or it's missing this. So that's where your expertise would come in extremely handy.
All right, but
No
the forms
problem.
and stuff, like, what I'm talking about is those forms already exist. They're linked on the other website. We don't have access to the H drive. We don't actually, I don't even have all the common used forms. That's what that, so it would be faster if someone that has access to all of that, categorizes that. We don't have it. I have a lot of
Maybe
forms.
forms isn't a great thing, but
They've
this other,
already done, Sonia.
That's
they're
what I'm
already-
saying. That's why I said staff.
okay,
No,
so I
common
do have
forms.
access to the H drive, and I can tell you that some of these forms, most of these forms don't exist on the H drive. Why should they? They're on the website. We can just get them off the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
and that's where they've saved them. So you just need us to go on there and look at the form and say, yeah, this looks right.
Or, the forms is not the biggest thing, but
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But it's also one of the most labor intensive.
yeah.
I'd also like to see a facilities line up there so we can put the maps where the dance barn is, just for maps.
Yeah, so I think the main thing is what Sonia was saying. This is approximately correct, but we probably need to add another category. And then are the right things under the right menu headers?
Gotcha.
That's number one, okay? And then if we can look at the resident resources and sort of comment about that, no, you can't do it exhaustively, but you can take a look at what's already linked and make sure we have the most current copy and just not the forms.
Go down to the bylaws. That's a good one. You should have the current form of that.
Well, but we never got assigned approval of the version that includes the changes that were voted on last November.
We voted on it.
We voted on it, that's all you need. You don't need signatures. This was
Yeah, there's
Dan
no
Pike's
signatures on the
advice.
bylaws, I don't think.
Yeah, there's a page, but it was Dan Pike's advice that you voted on it. That makes it in
So,
effect.
yeah, staff is I'm gonna say.
The
So
reason
what
we
you're saying is that you need us to type, because that's what we did last year, is that we had to make the change from the previous AGM because it didn't get done. So Nancy, that's what the ones that are the 2022, we did those changes. So you're asking us to update the 2022 with, the 2023 with the 2022 AGM changes as well, which is pretty easy. We can just make those additions.
I think that
to
was
the-
done, Sonia.
It's done.
Well,
Yeah,
she's saying she doesn't
Morgan
have
did
it.
it. Morgan
I had
put
it
those
signed,
in.
so we never posted it. And there
Oh,
had
you
to be
never-
Oh,
changes
it's posted.
The thing that was in the bylaws is wrong. Like, doesn't it have the wrong numbers in it?
Oh, the one we voted on had some errors in it, but I thought she fixed them.
Anyhow,
I think the only thing the current bylaws are missing are page numbers.
Yeah.
But there definitely is the 2022 SVCA bylaws or the 2023 with the 2022 AGM changes. That's there.
Well, you
I
can see
downloaded
it's
it.
not, it's never been posted. That's
I'm
what
telling you.
yeah, I believe you. I'm just saying it's not been posted. And I know I've had several conversations about this with, probably Morgan, and we're supposed to have something signed off. So if we're wrong, just tell me and we can post it, but that's what we got here.
By signed off, you mean you want each board member's signature
I
on
think
it?
what it is because when we typed it, Nancy, we put when we did it last year, we had all the board directors. We listed on that thing when we typed it up, all of the sitting board directors for their signature. There's a
Like-
signature page on it.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't have to fill it in, though. I mean, we don't have to get the signatures. That's what Dan Pike told me, that
First,
you voted.
speaking as what? As a lawyer? As a what?
I was just thinking the same thing. Maybe we should verify that it doesn't need signatures.
Talk to Richard.
It
There was
might
no way
not.
to get one. You need somebody in admin that can do that.
Well, okay, so she
people
has
up.
it, so she can type it and it can be posted without the signatures. So it can do that and we'll verify, and then if we need signatures, we'll do it. So, because she
Right.
does have it, like what Linda's saying, she does have it.
Yeah, it's up there. I downloaded it several times.
It's got a number 5 in parentheses and it says bylaws with 2022 AGM changes.
And the page numbers got cut off
Yep.
when it went from Word to PDF. And at that point, I'm happy.
You didn't
it
care.
went at all.
Yeah, there's no signature page on these bylaws.
Oh, really?
There's no, I'm looking at page 26 and it talks about the editor's contract of the last newsletter, part of the newsletter, and there is no signature page.
Okay, I need to look at it again then. Let me see what I've got.
Okay, well then we're good to go then. on that.
Well, all right, so Joanne's going to send us this web page, and we're going to see what's there. We're going to verify some stuff for her that we can verify. She wants to get certain things up and running. Some of it's hers, the whole events calendar and that sort of thing, correct?
Correct.
And the board and the committees thing, we can look at that and see where it is. The vision and the mission, the department thing, that would be you, wouldn't it, Joanne?
Yeah, that can be under construction. I mean, I think we need
Okay.
to think about it.
And you're going to tell us which of these things we can leave under construction and which we should focus on,
Yes.
correct?
Will
I
do.
got it.
So we'll wait to hear from Joanne, and then
And I
what we do, each of us figure out what an idea and kind of send it
See what
around
she
as
wants us-
emails. Or-
Well, number one, we can all look at that page and see what's there, Can we divide it all up, kind of how this resident handbook looks and stuff? And
What do you mean, this page, the web page or the
Yeah.
book?
yeah,
The
you
web
know,
page.
yeah.
Okay.
so
to take
I would
a
just
look
like
of-
to point out why it's very important that we don't take direction from staff and we go through the chain of command, because we wasted a lot of time where if Joanne had directed us to do what she needed us to do, we would have saved a lot of time.
Yep, we would have.
Well, but we're doing two things at once here, guys. This whole website thing is completely different than a resident handbook.
Right,
And
but
I agree, it's good that we don't do too much duplicity. If it's if it's explained on the web, can we just do a link? That's a decision for us to make too. Do we need that language in the actual handbook, or do we minimize it because it's elaborated on the website?
Right.
To me,
Yeah,
less is
they
more.
work together, and so it's real important that
Yep.
they work together. And
Yep.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, well, we'll wait for Joanne's email and maybe she can get home before 8. Are we ready to adjourn?
Oh, we are.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
Second.
Bye, Joanne.
Thank you, Nancy. Thanks, Linda.
Bye, guys.
Bye.